welcome back. Okay, so today, hopefully you've got through your big pantry purge yesterday and now you're ready to fill it back up with lots of yummy goodies. So I'm going to take you through just quickly a few of my favourites. I think the best thing to do is really get out there and start experimenting, because depending where you live the brands are going to be different. We live out in the country here, so we are really limited on what we've got access to. We've got an Aldi, we do have a Woolworths and a Coles, but they have really limited ranges. And we have one small health food shop and that's it. So yeah, if I can get my hands on stuff, you'll be able to get hands on stuff. So let's dive on in and I'll show you some of my favourites. Alright, so we're back to my super awesome shelves that my husband and my father-in-law built. So most of these are just spices, like the ones that you get in your little bottles in the supermarket, but I use a lot of these and I'm a real cheapskate, so I actually buy these in bulk from an Indian grocer when I go up to Brisbane and then bring them home. You don't need to have all of this, but it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like my little collection. Some people collect teapots, I guess I kind of collect spices. Alright, so jumping in, a few of my favourite things. What have we got? Okay, first up, so this is something here a bit unusual, gelatin. Now, it's not your normal gelatin that you make jelly with. This is a non-setting gelatin. Sometimes they call it therapeutic gelatin. Now, this stuff is awesome if you've got leaky gut or any kind of digestive issues. So I put this in our stock all the time. So not something I really cook with, but definitely something worth having in your pantry. What else have we got? Moving down. Okay, so here we've got some dried porcini mushrooms, and I have shiitake mushrooms on my other shelf. They're really good for beefing up sauces or even for making gravy with. Okay, moving down, we've got quinoa. Oh, I like the quinoa flakes, are really good. I haven't got many there. As an alternative for oats. So in place of your rolled oats, like if you're making biscuits or porridge even, quinoa flakes are really good. Moving down, okay, so down to the flours. So this one's just your stock standard gluten-free corn flour. So just from the supermarket, I think that's even just like the home brand of it. Coconut flour, I actually hate this stuff. I need to throw this out because it's really old and I used it once and I don't like it. It tends, I mean, a lot of people love it, I just don't, because it has a gritty texture to it, and I found that when we remove gluten and dairy at the same time, like everything, all the recipes I found all had coconut in them, and I just really got over the flavour of coconut really quick. Okay, glutinous rice flour. Now this stuff is great. It doesn't have gluten in it despite the name. It's called glutinous because that's the kind of texture that it has. It's really fantastic for giving things that springy kind of texture that you normally get from gluten. So I use that a lot when I make like with dumpling wrappers and pasta and that kind of thing, where you want your dough to have a bit of stretch. Okay, tapioca flour. Now this one I never use on its own. On its own it will make things go like harder than cement. But if you use a little bit, it just gives a bit more integrity to things and they don't tend to fall apart as easily. Then we've got rice flour. A lot of you probably know it from making shortbread. This is a nice fine one. Not something I like to use too much because, as with the tapioca flour, they're like a really refined carbohydrate. So if you use a lot of it, it's going to send your blood sugars through the roof. Okay, this next one here is teff flour. So teff is an ancient Ethiopian grain, and this is just the flour. I'll show you what it looks like. It's really awesome stuff. Oh, I need to get more. The jar's nearly empty. So it's just a, sorry about the lighting, it's just, it almost looks like cocoa actually. It's got an earthy flavour, and I really like adding it to things like pancakes and waffles, because if you just make them with your standard gluten-free flour, they can taste a bit ricey or just a bit kind of bland, and that gives them a bit of flavour. And then this one here, this is just the Orgran brand gluten-free flour. So I use that usually as the base for things in baking, but I'll often add a bit of teff flour or a bit of besan, which I will show you now. Oh, one more thing before we go. If you're dairy free as well, these guys here, nutritional yeast flakes. Awesome stuff. They give everything a kind of a cheesy flavour, and they're really high in B vitamins. Alright, we're going to go around to my other shelf now. Alright, so this is my other shelf because, like I said, I kind of hoard spices and things, and I like them in nice big jars. This was just like a really cheap bookshelf I got from the $2 shop. Got my aprons hanging on the side there, but it just gives me that little bit of extra storage space. So the main things I want to show you here, so these are the dried shiitake mushrooms. Again, I said they're great for making gravy with. And then they're just our normal spices. Now, where's my teff? Okay, here we go. This one here, this is the actual teff grain. I don't think it's going to let me go in really close and focus because I'm on video. But basically they are like tiny, tiny, tiny seeds. They're even smaller than poppy seeds. And they come from Ethiopia. They've been growing it there for over 6,000 years, so it's a really, really ancient grain. I love it. It's high in protein, high in essential fatty acids, and it's a complete protein. So there's not a lot of complete vegetable proteins out there, as in like not meat, but this is one of them. So this I cook up sometimes like a porridge in winter, and the kids love it. I love it too. Okay, then what else? Oh, that's all my teas. Okay, so down here, so we've got, these are my other two flours I want to show you. So we have masa flour here. This is a Mexican flour. It's ground corn, and that's what traditional tortillas are made from if you make non-wheat tortillas. So tortillas with masa are really easy. It's basically just masa flour, water, and a pinch of salt. Mix it into a dough, roll it out, and pan fry it in a dry fry pan, like no oil or anything, and that's it. So if you're looking for a quick and easy like flatbread, that's the way to go. And finally we've got besan. So besan is a chickpea flour. So this is used a lot in Indian cooking. If you like chickpeas, you'll like besan. So it gives a really nice nutty, almost earthy kind of flavour to things, and just gives it that little bit of depth of flavour. And the other really great thing about besan is it doesn't absorb oil. So if you're making things like chicken nuggets, or you want to dust some fish in flour before you pan fry it, this is the best stuff to use. So it gives a really nice crispy coating. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's most of my favourite alternatives. So jump in the Facebook group and let me know what you thought. Anything there that you want to know a bit more about, where to find them, or a bit more information about like what they actually are, or even their nutritional value, let me know. And tell me what your favourites are, because that's what I really want to know. I think if we all tell each other what our favourites are, then we're all going to go away with heaps and heaps and heaps of awesome ideas to get out there and try.